Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you today? Good evening or good afternoon, depends of where are you from. Thank you very much for joining us this morning or this day to celebrate love. Welcome back to our second Valentine's Day special of the series ACI Bringing Wisdom to Life. Today, the class is very special. We will talk about the stories we tell ourselves and others in our relationships. And I am very honored to introduce our ACI senior teacher, Rebecca Vinokur, and Tim Lowenhaupt. So, first of all, I want to ask you if you want to open your camera and you want to be promoted as a panelist, please raise your hand and our tech team will promote you. And if you are a panelist and you would like to be more in contact with the teachers, please open your camera so we have more warming atmosphere on the class. Thank you very much. Now to you, Rebecca and Tim.
Oh, I was on mute. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. Thank you for coming.
Cool. All right. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, so just for this is for the tech team. If you guys could promote the people in the attendees to the panelists so everyone can be present and with our camera on, that would be awesome. So would you like to start, Rebecca, or would you like me to start?
You start. I need a minute for my brain to wake up.
You need to wake up? Okay, cool. All right. I'm really excited about this class. Rebecca and I have been talking about it probably for the last 2 weeks. And it's taken on a few iterations about what we wanted to talk about and what we can't talk about. But what we wanted to share today is what is it that makes someone special in our life? Right. And oftentimes when we start a spiritual path, we find that person in a teacher. Right. Like maybe we're attracted to a particular teaching or a style of teaching or the content or a particular person. And that seems to inspire, and if we meet that special person, it seems to change our life immediately. I don't know what it was like for you, Rebecca, when you met your teacher. But for me, it was like there was a sense of groundedness and clarity of the direction of my life. Although I don't know what that direction was going to be, but there was a kind of certainty that I had never experienced before.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was very young, so I had a little bit of maybe a different experience than most people. And I, at the time, was very clear on the path my life was going to take. And then I met my teacher and it blew up. And I remember, my life just completely changed direction. I had been really single pointed on a particular career and a particular lifestyle. And everything just changed. I just started going to class like I was still in school. So I went to class as often as I could without missing school. And then once school ended, then, I just started to arrange my life in a way so that I could be as close to my teacher as often as possible. And I remember my mom taking me aside one day. She was worried I had joined a cult because just because my life had changed so radically and I had changed so much. And she said, well, it's just, all what, sure, I'll slow down. Sorry. Sorry, I thought that was slow. Um, so my mom, was worried because things had changed so radically in my life. And she said, well, you've given up all your dreams. And I was like, no, Mom, I found my dreams. Like, I woke up. So things changed really fast for me, and gave me, I would say, a purpose. My teacher gave me a purpose and meaning to my life.
So maybe we can orient everyone to what we're really going to talk about today, Rebecca.
Okay.
What is the, why did we start, with this brief discussion about teachers? Like where are we going to go today?
Well, we're heading, it is a special day, Tim.
Oh, is it?
It is. I'm wearing my special red sweater.
Kind of hard to tell, but this is pink.
Well, we thought for Valentine's Day, it would be nice to speak about the thing that we're all in this world mostly obsessed with, which is love. And Tim and I, well, Tim said that we've been spending the last 2 weeks preparing for this class, but Tim, how long have I known you?
12 years, maybe.
I think we've been spending 12 years talking about this class. Well, I don't know what boys talk about when they're together, but
wait.
women,
I'm not going to let you finish your sentence first.
I'm like blushing, actually, just but when a group of women get together, we tend to talk about love and our feelings about love and who we love and why we love them. And what's interesting is that the hearts, it's true. In a Dharma center, who's the focus of our love? Mainly, aside from, the new cute boy or new cute girl who showed up, who's the target? Who's like the magnet for us, who draws us to them and who draws our minds to them? And that's our Lama. And you get a lot of feelings that arise around your Lama, right? And Tim and I were talking about it, and all the different kinds of love that we feel for people, and how sometimes it could get maybe a little confusing because the feelings for all of these different types of people can be similar, right? And that, sort of part of the point of a Lama is to bring you to this higher state of love. So we're going to talk about that.
Well, I wondered where you were going because you said, I don't know what boys talk about. I know what girls talk about. And then I was wondering, well, what did Tim and Rebecca talk about? But yeah, Rebecca and I have known each other for a really long time. And, the conversations around, Rebecca and I have both run many Dharma events, many different types of programming where we bring people together, and it's a theme that happens quite often, actually happens almost in every program, right? I remember when I first showed up, being just a student. And it was like, my heart was opening so much. Like I felt so much. How about that? I just was feeling, right? I had feelings, like feelings in general. Um, and then there was this kind of devotional feeling that was coming out for my teacher. And then I had, but I didn't have like they were my teacher. There was a boundary that that was there completely, right? And I didn't have to think about it, it just was. But then all these other feelings, right? And as a new student, it was like, there's all these people around, right? And they all want the same thing. And, who's the next attractive person, right? I remember like one of my good friends, Joel, would walk into a retreat and 5 minutes later, he'd say, so who are you attracted to? Who's your crush this time? That changes over time, of course. But what we want to explore today is, the different kinds of love, like the love that you feel towards a teacher. And then how a teacher your concept of teacher could change, and who your teacher is could become somebody else.
And it could become someone totally unexpected.
Right. So we thought that we would talk about, let's start with this first teacher relationship. Like, what is this relationship, right? And we'll hopefully, evolve into some of the deeper forms of relationship, which your teacher can be the deepest form of relationship, right? But how do they appear? And then how do they appear in all different kinds of samsaric relationships and maybe spiritual relationships, or maybe in both?
Yeah, Tim and I were talking yesterday about the difference between like a regular relationship, like you meet a cute boy, you meet a cute girl, they like the same sorts of things as you, you're attracted to them, you want to spend time with them, and that's like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you're all like super giddy when you meet them and you're obsessed with them and you can't stop thinking about them, and you annoy all your friends with how much you talk about them, and everything reminds you of them. Everything reminds you of them. It's a sickness. It's an illness. Every song on the radio is about them. Every sunset makes you think of them. And, when you start dating and things are just amazing and they're perfect. And then they do something annoying and you're like, well, that's weird. When did you get annoying? When did you start chewing loudly? Why do you chew so loudly? Like, why do you chew with did you not have a mother teach you that that's disgusting? Or
Translators, just slow down.
And it's
weird. Being really funny right now, and I want to make sure they're capturing.
Okay. Sorry. And it's weird because just like, for me, the magic number is always 4 months. Like just 4 months before, they were perfect. They had this like amazing Irish accent and it was so cute. But then all of a sudden, you're like, why do they say words like that? Why don't they speak properly? Like, what's wrong with them? And it's weird because they changed so rapidly in such a small amount of time. And then you realize, well, these were just things they always had that you just never noticed. You should have noticed how they chewed their food on your first date. Is that true, you guys? Is it true you should have noticed at the beginning?
I'm going to debate you on that.
Yeah, well, it's a trick question. Hopefully you'll all debate me on this one. No. You made them annoying. So there's that relationship, which, yeah, it always falls apart. And if it doesn't fall apart, if there's the few people you know who've been married for 40 or 50 years and they're miraculously still happy, one of you will get sick first, and one of you will die first. And that is the natural progression of all of our regular relationships, right? So I think as practitioners that we should want something more than that for our lives, which is either a constant series of breakups or this constant up and down and up and down and up and down, or someone dying on us. I think we should want something more than that, right? And I think because of this guy over here, it's possible.
So Rebecca, you made me think about like I'm going to jump out of our romantic normal relationships and go back to the teacher relationship, right? You know, and I think what you described is also can be a trajectory of our teacher as well.
Mhm.
You know, but there's also, you know, you meet a teacher and they're so awesome, right? You're like, you put all of your hopes and dreams into them. Like you see, like your refuge gets really strong. You see that they have some kind of quality, right? They have qualities that you're looking for, right? You know, and in some ways, you know, romantic relationships seem to normal romantic relationships kind of seem the same. Like, you know, you meet someone who has qualities that fulfill a need that you have, right? You know, whether it's a need of you're lonely, or by the way, Rebecca and I decided that we're just going to speak how we normally speak, so just get used to it. You know, so you might be, we're also planting seeds to do a podcast, so just letting you guys know. You know, maybe you're lonely, maybe you're horny, maybe you're, I don't know, all of the things that you would need, you would want from a relationship, right? Now, let's transfer that into a teacher, right? Here's someone that you see who can fulfill your spiritual aspirations, right? They teach you how to live a better life. They teach you how to be a good person. They teach you how to treat people, right? And maybe 4 months might be too soon, but there's a kind of a magic number when your teacher will start doing things that make them look more and more or less and less spiritual or less and less enlightened. You know, maybe maybe they start doing things like getting sick. They do things, they start complaining, or they, you know, they start to become more and more normal looking in appearance. And then what do you do in that moment? Like, if you hate the sound of the sound of your partner's chewing, shit. Excuse me. If you hate the sound of your partner's chewing, or you hate the way that they, you know, I don't know, find whatever thing you complain about your teacher, or excuse me, I'm screwing up the terminology. Your partner, right? What annoys you about your partner, right? You know, so, and then do you handle it? Or do you just say, yeah, look, okay, fine. Some things are just going to be weird and idiosyncratic, and I'm just going to get annoyed at dinner every night. Or you start having fights. You know, I ended a relationship because I couldn't handle the conflict. It was just normal conflict. Now I understand. But I was like, I'm out of here. Peace out. This is uncomfortable, right? So then all of a sudden your teacher starts doing uncomfortable things, like get sick or picks their nose, right? Or you see them in the gym and they start having men conversation with you in the gym, right? And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And that's the thing that I think comes up. What comes up for me is I can't believe this is happening. You were spiritual yesterday, and today you're sick. Right? Yesterday, everything about you reminded me of the sunset. Everything in the world reminded me of you. The sunset. You know, the little falling snowflakes. Right? I think about you all the time, right? And then you become my worst enemy. Obsession goes the other direction too. Right? Obsession goes to the place of why can't snowflakes remind me of you? Why do I just get irritated all the time? And then you have to start, if you've done enough of it, then you have to start asking yourself the question, is it you or is it me? Maybe it's us, but let's start there. Is it you or is it me? But what's happening? What's happening? And I'm really good at this. Rebecca knows. I'm really good at telling stories, especially about romantic interests, right? I'm really good at creating a whole series of stories based on a few facts or few observations. Did you see how she looked at me? Look at this text. Let's overanalyze every single word. Right?
Well, it's an interesting thing because with our lamas, we're supposed to analyze every single text and every single word and every single look or lack of a look. Right?
You just opened it up, Rebecca, right? That's the oh, we're gonna go there, aren't we? We're gonna go there. Nice, good job. Okay, let's go. Let's investigate. What do you mean by that, Rebecca? Okay, we're gonna go there. What do you mean?
Oh, I did go there. I didn't know I went there. Okay.
You did. You totally went. This is exactly what we decided we weren't gonna talk about.
I'm not going there. I'm not going to that place from yesterday. God help us.
We are though.
Tim and I talked about at length yesterday what we weren't going to talk about, and then I opened my big mouth. Oh well. Well, we're supposed to see our lamas as special. I mean, that's the whole point. You pick one person, and usually it's one person because most people don't have the capacity for more than that. But of course, obviously, eventually you go and expand to the whole universe. But you pick one person and you're like, this person's special. This person is here to get me enlightened. The whole point of them being on this planet is to get me enlightened. And then, you pray and you serve them and you watch them. And you have this faith that everything they're doing and everything they say, and even down to every gesture, is to take you to a higher place. So you watch them. I mean, if you're in this mode where every gesture that a person makes is going to could send you at any moment into a higher realm, you're going to watch them, right? And it can become a kind of I hate this word, but it's early and I can't think of another word, but almost like an obsession, right? Because you're so single pointed on getting out of this broken realm. So you're watching for any kind of sign that your Lama gives you. I mean, sometimes the Lama just has to pee, right? Like sometimes the Lama's like, I'm going to the bathroom now. And you're like, what did he mean? What did she mean by that? And it's like, well, I don't know. Like, he seems to have a human body. She seems to have just drunk a lot of water. Maybe she just needs to pee. But we're in this mode of analyzing everything they do and everything they say. And it leads to a certain level of sorry, translators, you'll have to use a little nuance with what I'm about to say. It leads to a little bit of insanity for us as students, but it's a very healthy insanity, right? Why am I talking about this? There was a point. But that also comes down to the stories we tell ourselves, right? It's all a story. Like, is the Lama here to enlighten you? Or is the Lama just trying to annoy you because there's some sadistic person and they find it fun? What story do you want to tell yourself? And is one of those stories more true than the other story? And how do you know which is the real story? Which one is, or which is not the story and which is the fact?
Yeah, and this is where I think when you come into any kind of community, spiritual community, right, and you see people with a certain kind of devotion and behavior towards the teacher, like it can become a little uncomfortable, right? Where it's like, you don't know the story that's in their head, right? And then you start hearing the stories like about if it's possible to become a being who can serve all beings, to become a being who has achieved all their goals and can achieve the goals of others. And those beings can come to help us through teaching, right? And if you have the karma to see that, then that person is one of the things that one of my teachers said to me that's always with me is that, Tim, it doesn't matter how you see yourself. If you have a student who sees you as a teacher, they finally have the capacity to get out of this suffering life.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool way of thinking about teaching. Like, if someone sees you as a teacher, then they have the karma to finally unwind samsara. So if you see a teacher that way, and that person, and you begin to see what they're doing as messages. I mean, this is what a Lam Rinpa does, like a Kadampa, right? Like, everything a teacher says is a secret message, a special message for you. It's perfectly designed for you to understand what you need to do to unwind all of this, to unravel it, to keep yourself from staying twisted up in samsara.
In my experience, like, and I've seen a lot of people come and go in the years. You can go to a teacher for facts, right? You can go because you just want to learn some stuff and fill up your brain with data or facts or logic. And I don't know, those people don't seem to stick around so long. it seems to me the people who have the most longevity have that special view of the teacher. They're not seeing the Lama as some university professor, right? They're really, they have a capacity for like a belief in magic almost, and an ability to look for these sort of secret signs. And they're able to look for these things before anyone ever told them that they should. So I'm not saying one is, well, I would lie if I would say I don't think one is better than the other. I do think one is better than the other, but mainly because it will help you stick around longer, which will help you get out of this very broken realm faster, which is what we all want and why we should all be here today or coming to class at all. And I don't know, if you're not one of those people who it comes to naturally, and that's fine, because that's just a seed and that's just good luck from your, really, it's just good luck from your last life. Don't feel too proud of yourself if you came in as one of those people. But you can develop that skill. If it doesn't come naturally to you, you can develop that. And I don't think that's a hard one to develop because it's fun. Some seeds are hard. They're really hard to plant, but I think the seed for magic that's a fun one to plant. So not too difficult to develop that in my mind.
So we start with this idea of a teacher, right? And we start looking for the special signs, like the messages for us. Like I was saying in my class yesterday, Rebecca, that it took 12 years of my teacher repeating the same thing over and over again for me to get it, right? But so I have a question for you then. So, okay, so we've developed this capacity with this one person, this one individual seems, and maybe it becomes a little bit of an obsession. Maybe it becomes, you have to check yourself, right? A little bit. But what happens, what's like my question for you, Rebecca, is so you start with one person, and if you have a healthy relationship with it, meaning that you understand where it's coming from, and you understand that, well, look, there are special messages there, and okay, well, what's the special meaning of my teacher going to the bathroom? I mean, I can think of several sometimes, and lots of times I don't think about those things. I'm like, okay, they're just going to the bathroom, like, chill out, Tim, right? Sometimes. What it reminds me of is my own body and my own humanness and what I'm trying to get out of, right? If you have to go to the bathroom, like Buddhas probably don't go to the bathroom in a non, whatever, in their Sambhogakaya, okay? So, okay, so we have this one person, this one being, we spend a lot of time with them. What stops us, or what value, Rebecca, does it have to start looking, why does this person become the most important, and why don't other things become important, or should other signs become important? That's my question. Does the one teacher take you there? I'm tracking. We're doing a one in many conversation. Looks like she's going to make me keep talking.
Keep talking for a minute.
Okay, so for me, what's happened in my own practice is, at one point I started thinking about, well, okay, I'm focusing on this one person. I'm focusing on this one individual who seems to have who has changed my heart significantly, has changed my mind and heart, and how I handle not just myself, but how I treat others. And then something in that single pointed devotion to one, it seems to me that I start seeing my teacher in other places.
Yeah.
They don't just seem to hang out in this one body.
Mhm.
They seem to start appearing in other people, in other situations. And I start taking that view into other aspects of my life. That's what I'm saying. And like, and start looking for those messages everywhere.
Well, I think that and this is just my experience. Well, it's a couple of things. I spent so long looking for the one that I think I planted a lot of seeds to maybe see those messages pop up in more than one person or more than one place. I think that is the case for all of us. You don't just like generally, you don't just happen upon a llama. You're looking, you're like desperate, you're, you know, you want it, you wanted it, you have a longing, and that's what really plants the seed for them to show up in the first place. I mean, for me, I didn't really, once I found my teacher, I was like, I'm good. Um, and I didn't so much go looking for other teachers or for other signs, but they just start to arise because you spend so much time looking for that teacher, and the devotion that you feel for that teacher forces you to see them arise in other places. And doesn't it seem likely that they would pop up in like your new friend that you met, or maybe they pop up in your partner because you're with them all the time, or maybe they pop up as a little girl at your birthday at a Mexican restaurant. I mean, it would seem to me, if the Buddha can emanate as one person, they could probably emanate as two people in your life, right? And it's a cool thing because you can't stop it from happening. I don't know why you would want to stop it, but it's really it's forced upon you. The magic and the messages start to become forced upon you, and it's like, it's really amazing. And these other people who start appearing will just tell you they're normal and there's nothing special about them, but you can't help it. You're like, sorry, Buddha, I can't help how I'm seeing you. I don't care what you say. I don't believe you're normal, no matter what you tell me, because you're just being forced to see the magic all the time. So that's cool. That's something to look forward to for all of us.
Right. So, okay, let's go a little deeper, Rebecca. Okay. So,
Dude, I thought that was pretty deep.
oh, what? It was. I want to go further. You know, so we have this human, I think, a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us have this desire to have deep communion with a being, like a partner, like a deep connection, intimacy, someone who knows us so well and we know them that well. And there's like a completion that happens, or a like a feeling that when there's the two of you, it's greater than the sum of its parts. Like the two of us is more than two, right? Like, I can do something on my own, you can do something on your own, but the two of us together could do something incredibly bigger than that, right? And those longings are all wrapped up in every single samsaric thing that we have in this life as well. Like, all of our attachments, everything we hold on to is ourself. Who am I? Who are you? Your chewing annoys me, right? That's samsaric, right? That's just like, every emotion, every jealousy, you don't spend enough time with me, or you spend too much time with me. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's too sexy, it's not sexy enough. Like, let's go on and on and on and on about all of it, right? And when I'm with my I'm going to say my first Lama that I really met, right? Who sits up in the front of a classroom. I have this capacity to see the magic and mainly not get upset or annoyed, even when they do the most annoying things. My teacher will push my buttons all the time. Now, I will get upset outside of the situation, but I never really get upset with them. Rebecca said, and recently I've been getting hit from all angles. And she said, how long have you been here? And I said, 13, 12 years. And she goes, oh, perfect. That's the time when it happens. Give it another 3 or 4 years. It'll slow down.
It does. In my experience. I mean,
Yeah.
Actually, maybe 5 years. Sorry.
Whatever it is, but the teacher knows I'm not going anywhere. So now they're going to start sandpapering me with a different grain. Right. It hurts a little bit more. Right. But I don't get upset with them. I might go off and do my own thing and get pissed off and other stuff. Right. But I don't get upset with them. But then we have this longing, right? And in our tradition, we talk about the being, the person, the teacher who can take you to total enlightenment. Okay, I'm just going to jump in, Rebecca. And we talk a lot, and there's oftentimes, I feel sometimes pressure unfairly, but we talk about the spiritual partner. Find your partner, find the person who's going to take you there. Get with that person and go from A to Z, blow through your afflictions, and they will do that for you. And then they will teach you how to reach total enlightenment. They will take you there. Right? The spiritual partner does that. Okay. So then, I think the language is interesting to me, but it gets wrapped up into all these normal things too. Oh, I just met someone cool. My winds. So you hear people say, my winds are moving. Yeah, you know what? You know what that's called? Figure it out.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I'm just saying sometimes.
Sometimes it is something different.
Well, I'm trying to, you are attracted to somebody. You're really attracted to them. I thought this was an hour and a half, Ale.
I did too, actually. We are in trouble.
We're in trouble. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have this person, right, who we are attracted to. We go through. We start going through the normal things. Oh, do they like me? Do they not like me? Rebecca, what does this text mean? What did those eyes mean? Did they?
What do these freaking emojis mean?
Was that too many? Was that too many exclamation points? Was it not enough? Right? And then you start over analyzing the messages, right? Okay, so fine. Let's pretend you. So all the normal things start happening, right? And then you're like, and then even if you do see them special, right? What, like, how, like, this is my question, Rebecca. How do we transition into, like, I want all of those things. I think we all want them. I want comfort. I want intimacy. I want emotional closeness. I want physical closeness. I want all of those things. And then when I don't have them, I get upset. I get frustrated. I get lonely. I get mad. All those things happen. Right. So how do we transition? Like, how do we take this beautiful relationship that we have with Allah, right? And we see them as magical. We see their messages. And then because of that magic and because of that karma, which is forced upon us, we start seeing it in the world. Like, we see it in the coffee shop. We see it in our students. We see it. We see it everywhere, right? We start hearing those messages. We start feeling the messages, right? And then this person shows up, right? Or a person, or let's say you have a partner already who's starting to get suspicious, right? Or maybe they're so suspicious that they only act 100% normal.
I like that.
That they
I'm
never,
stealing that.
that they never have angel wings, that they never feel divine, that they only feel like someone who eats, shits, and watches football. Okay. Excuse me, right? They're just normal, right? So here's the gamut, here's the wide range, right? You know, and if you hold on to this view, how do we keep it holy, is my question. Or how do we transform it into holy?
I think I think a lot of it has to do with intention. Like, just my own, I can't talk about anyone else. I can only talk about my own experience. Sometimes you go into a relationship with someone. It is a nice question. Sometimes you go into a relationship with someone and it does feel, just to be honest, it does feel profoundly mundane. It just feels normal. And no matter, oh, I'm sorry, it's early. I might cry more, you guys. I'm sorry. It just feels profoundly normal. And no matter how hard you try to make it special, he still chews loudly, or he still spends all day on YouTube, or you find pornography on his phone, or it just feels normal. And you can't break out of the normal, no matter like how hard you try. So there's that kind of relationship, right? And what do you do? I mean, obviously, we all know about the pen, okay? I'm not gonna, so you try to plant the seeds for magic. And you hope that those seeds will ripen with that ordinary person. You hope, right? But sometimes they ripen somewhere else. Sometimes your relationship with your llama just becomes more profound, right? Or sometimes then you start getting messages elsewhere. Maybe you just start getting more random messages on the radio or something. And I'm not answering your question, Tim. I'm asking my own question. What do you do with that, right? But then sometimes there's relationships where, like where I met my llama, and it was just automatically everything was magical, and I didn't need to look for signs. It just, these things were just arising, and that's lucky. But I think it can help, to get back to your question. I think it can help you have to know what you want. Do you want a boyfriend? Do you want a girlfriend? Do you really just want someone to watch TV with, raise kids with, and have sex with? And like, we're not judging you. That's fine. That's a choice. That's what 99.9% of this world is into. Or do you have an intention for something higher? And I really do believe that in order to either change your ordinary relationship, I want a boyfriend to go on a picnic with. You know what? I want a boyfriend to go on a picnic with too. That sounds nice. Uh, but maybe you want a boyfriend to go on a picnic with who you can also get enlightened with. So I really think you need to have that strong intention. I don't think that your partner can transform into that, or that you can meet some random, well, not random, or not like you can meet a special girl or a guy who makes the prana move in a certain way and makes you want to be a better person and drives you towards enlightenment without that intention. So I think that's super important.
And I think that's, Rebecca, that's really the big question. Like, do we want, there's nothing wrong with wanting the normal things in life, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting a good life. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have security finances. There's nothing wrong with having the kind of emotional and intimate security that a normal partner could bring, right? And to have all those things, to go on picnics with, to have sex with, right? To have all those things with, like, those are great things to have and want. And the way you started the class very, with a lot of emotion, is that those kinds of things will come to an end. Like, there will be a last picnic, guys, if you're not careful. Like, I'm just making a joke, but there will be the last time for everything, right? There will be a last moment of, and if the older you get, those last moments happen more and more frequently. People start dying. People start getting sick. And do you want something that could be more powerful? What's the higher intention? Do you want that spiritual partnership as well? And you got to be ready for it. I mean, be careful what you ask for, right? When we do the seven ingredients in our meditations, and we ask our teacher to teach us, my teachers always said, be careful asking for teachings. Do you really want them? Because if you really got the teaching you would need, you probably would be cowering in the corner crying all the time, because it would be destroying you and everything you thought was correct about you and your world. And that's why teachers go slow. They take their time, right? They understand that they don't want to blow up your ego yet. My teacher has a particularly fascinating technique of, like, inflating the balloon for years.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, inflating the
Some
balloon.
of us didn't get that, Tim. Some of us just got the whip to be right from the first day.
Well, my ego got inflated and then popped. Okay, I had special teachers. I had one teacher who put the hot air in, and had the other teacher who popped it out. And it hurts a lot, right? It's what you need, like whatever you need. Maybe you can handle it right away. Some of us need a little bit more, like, care and compassion first. I don't know. But, if you really want that relationship, you have to know what you're asking for, right? Yeah. The things that you hold dear, the things that you think are important, the things that you think are love, the things that you think are sex, the things that you think are intimacy, the things that you think that you are and they are all brought into question. And it can be beautiful and it can be heart-wrenching at the same time. You know, if we look at the stories, some of the stories of in our tradition, you know, sometimes the people who had their spiritual partners actually weren't with them for their whole life. They would pop in and out. And it wasn't until they were ready that they were together.
And some people have to wait 50 years for them to stay with them. 50.
Right?
I know someone who waited 50 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Needed 50 years to bring those karmas together, right? You know, so all of those things are really, you know, what is it that you truly want? Sam asked a good question here. Sam said, they don't look like a practitioner. Do you think your practice is something that's coming from its own side? Do you think the practices are the practices from their own side? You know, like that's my answer to that question. Like, sure. They
Some
may
Buddhists,
show up.
yeah, sorry, you go. I'll go.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Some
Go
Buddhists
for it.
aren't even Buddhist. Some Buddhists aren't even Buddhist. So, you know, you get what I'm saying? You don't have to wear a mala and have an altar to a blue guy or a red lady to actually be a practitioner. Some of the best people I know aren't Buddhist or pretend not to be Buddhist. I think, you know, it's convenient if our spiritual partner is Buddhist. Just it's convenient. You can go to classes together. They understand your vernacular, your lingo. I think it is convenient, to be honest, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I don't know, for me, if an angel like comes from heaven for me, I don't really care what picture they have hanging up on their altar, right? I just care that they can get me out of here and make me a being who can get other people out of here too. And the point of all of this is that eventually everyone around you is appearing like that. And maybe they won't all look Buddhist either, and that's fine.
So one of the things that, you know, I want to take a side note on this is, does your spiritual partner have to show up in the form of another human being?
Well,
I mean, I have an answer for this, but do they have to show up as what we would look like as a boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, lover, wife, husband, etc., mom, dad, things like that?
you mean, could they show up as like your nephew or niece, or do you mean could they show up as your dog or your sofa? Or do you mean could they show up do you mean they could show up like in your mind but not in an actual outer form? Or are you asking all of those things?
What I'm saying is that what if the world could be your partner?
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, what if your service to all living beings were seen as not many but one?
I think that is the ultimate goal, really. But I do think that that's, I mean, just for me personally, I think that that's like a difficult place to start, but I do think that that is the ultimate goal. I mean, I also think it depends on your current capacity, you know.
So I guess my question, so I guess we need to go to just a little bit deeper into the question, like, what is the function of that spiritual partner? Like, what do they do? Like, why that and not something else? That's my question. Like, why what's this yearning for? And
Oh,
if we set the motivation.
I mean, Geshe-la talks about, you know, that like when you get enlightened on the day of your enlightenment, you and your partner are standing like on top of the world and you get enlightened together. And the whole point is to go serve the world together. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. You know, you can't forget about the other people that you're supposed to serve together. And I think that that could be a danger if you're working with a spiritual partner, because it can cause a lot of difficulty in your life. That's true. They can really push you, but it can also cause like a lot of bliss, right? Because they came here just for you. Like they obviously know what makes you happy. And so I think that there could be a danger of there becoming like a blind spot or a tunnel vision where it's just about you and them trying to like serve each other. But the whole point, if it's a real spiritual partnership, is that you're serving the world together. Two is greater than one, but then two also becomes one. I think that you do have to remember that when you're, you know, when you have this longing for a partner, I think that you have to remember, look, it's really easy for all this samsaric crap to get entangled in it because the feelings are very similar. But I think you really have to like keep the intention higher. And that'll give you a lot of clarity in these relationships.
So Rebecca, we have a little bit of a challenge right now. And then the challenge that we're trying to sort out, you know, is we had assumed this is 1.5 hours and the translators were told only an hour. So I want to kind of respect all of that. So why don't, if it's okay with the translators, could we go like another like 10 minutes or so? So we can kind of, because we kind of left it hanging and I don't want to like leave this hanging. So I apologize for our internal miscommunications on this. But I think we need a couple more minutes to make sure we can't just leave it hanging here. Yeah, so Marina's okay, right? You're okay, Marina? Lavinia, you're okay? Berta's okay, Janet's okay. Who else is translating? Where's the Vietnamese translator? Oh, you're good, okay? All right, cool. Well, let's just keep going then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys. And we're sorry.
So sorry about our miscommunications inside. And if you guys need to go, please let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you said something really interesting, Rebecca, is like, what is the motivation behind doing all of that? Right? What is the motivation behind having someone with whom you wake up every day and you're like, what are we going to do today to serve others? And part of that is serving each other, of course.
Yeah.
Right. You know, what does that person need? Like, And the thing that teachers do now, where we were trying to go is shifting from the teacher that sits in front of the room, maybe wearing the golden robes, right? And then moving to the person who lays next to you in bed at night. Right. And even if that, and maybe a spiritual partner doesn't even have to look like that. I mean, it could look so many different ways, but let's roll with that one. You know, that person could shift into being your teacher, right? Let's shift that, right? That person, because the things that you see, where are they coming from? Whether you see magic in special messages, or you see someone who needs to brush their teeth before waking up, before they get out of bed, before you give them a kiss. And Janet laughs, right?
I remember those days.
Right? You know, it's like, and then, you know, then your practice gets really weird. Then you're like, oh, is this a secret message? Right? A secret sign of like, they need to brush their teeth before we kiss, you know, like, because my seeds are ripening to see something that's maybe a little unpleasant. Right? And so then if you can hold on to that as teacher, right? You know, and then still roll over and say, hey, how are we going to serve the world today together? Right? And maintain that motivation and that gratitude, right? Thank you for being here so we can do this together. Thank you for teaching me that I still have seeds for unpleasant breath. You know, or I still have this body, or that I'm not, you know, as soon as someone's in your personal space, every annoying thing that you feature that you have, every annoying thing that you just do by yourself that doesn't annoy you comes to the surface. Right? Your idiosyncrasies, your weirdnesses, your lack of concern for others, all of those things will appear, will come up, and then your partner will point them out to you. Well, hopefully, or maybe they don't see those things, who knows? But if you have that motivation to clean up your bad karma and then to serve the world, and you start seeing the magic in them, then everything you do with them becomes holy and magical. Everything that you normally did with them maybe takes on much greater significance. Right? And so when we started asking the question of, oh, did they move your wins? You're damn right they did. Right? But you do it with different intention, and you do it with different labels, different karmas ripen around things like that. But wait for 4 months. That's right. So hurry up. In the first 4 months of meeting someone, get enlightened. So after 4 months, they're not annoying to you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's mine. It's always 4 months. I don't know. That's about as long as I can sustain. That's how good my karma is, you guys. That's how long I can sustain the like honeymoon magic phase. You all might have better karma than me.
Right. And so it's like hurry up and get enlightened before they annoy you.
Yeah.
Or you annoy them. That's great. But really, like, check in. Eternal loves last 3 months. Who said that, Pachi? I remember. That's an Argentinian saying, isn't it? So like really, like what do you want? It really comes down to the question of what do you want and what are you ready to do?
I think what are you ready to do is important. I think it's really important. Maybe one of you is ready and the other one isn't ready. Maybe one of you is ready and the other is pretending not to be ready. Maybe one of you is ready and the other one doesn't want that. The other one just wants a girlfriend. Does it matter? Can you like still be trying to see someone as totally pure and still be listening for these messages and still be getting teachings from them, even if they say they just want a girlfriend to go watch football with on Sundays? Yeah, and Cindy said, and what are you ready to do? And look, you guys, I really want to be clear. Tim and I have been doing this for a long time. And we're not putting, from my side, I'm not putting pressure on you to go blow up your relationship because your boyfriend chews loudly and you don't see him as a Buddha. And you're like, me and the kids are leaving because you chew loudly and the Buddha doesn't chew loudly. We're not saying that. Okay. Please do not go blow up your relationship because of what we just said. Okay. I don't want to get angry emails from your loud chewing boyfriend. Okay, you do have to be, it's a high teaching, it's aspirational. You don't have to go, this isn't one of those teachings where you have to go put it into practice today. If you're ready for it, then you must. But you can still just want a girlfriend. Like no one's judging you. It's okay. It's just aspirational. It's just something that's possible for you. It's something that's available to you. If it's not available to you today, maybe tomorrow, maybe a few years from now, maybe you're young and you just still kind of want to have some fun, some conventional fun. It's fine. I think it's,
and I still want conventional fun.
I know I want conventional fun. I'm not young, but I do still want some conventional fun. The spiritual partnership should bring you a lot of fun. Okay. We're not saying it should be all pious. It will be pious, but it will also be the most fun you ever had. We just, sometimes you come to these like spiritual partnership talks and you feel really down about yourself because you're either not ready or you're just not in that relationship now. We didn't tell you to go split up or divorce your partner. We did not say that. We said there's a thing that's available to you that you can aspire to, and it's very beautiful and you can think about it. Okay.
And really I think returning back to the question of your wish for enlightenment, like your wish to serve all beings, right? And there's so many different, like, and the karma to have it is also changing as well. So sometimes it arises and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's more powerful and other times I'm just a selfish jerk, right?
Yeah, I think it's important, in this spiritual partnership, it could be easy to like just be thinking about what you're getting from your partner. And it can be hard to remember that you're their spiritual partner too. And you're there to serve them too. And to provide these provide these experiences. Provide these. Oh, sorry. God. You're there to serve them as well. It should be a two-sided thing that you want to get them enlightened too, right?
Well, okay, so that's an interesting view, Rebecca, right? You see them as if they appear to you as already enlightened, there to teach you how to get there. And then there's this other view that appears that they want to get enlightened too, right? Like how do we balance that out? Like, they want to get, they tell you, I want to get enlightened, right? And they say, oh, let's do this together. And then on the other side, your view is they already are. And then they're just pulling me there and appearing in this way, right? So where's that, like, how do we hold both those views, which both are correct and both are wrong?
Yeah, they are both correct and they are both wrong. And I, like in my experience, someone could appear as this is a real mind trip, you guys. Someone could appear as totally enlightened and totally messed up. Like, they're obviously a Buddha. They came here to like drag me to Buddhahood and to like total bliss, but they're appearing as someone who has problems and who needs help. Why would a Buddha appear to me as someone who has problems and who needs help? Because I haven't planted enough seeds yet, and they're tricking me into helping them so that I can plant the seeds I need to get out of here. And, I heard Geshe Michael one time, he was dealing with a difficult person. It was one of the few times he cursed around me. I don't know. I feel like today I shouldn't say bad words, which is, if you've been to my teachings, should be quite refreshing to all of you. But he said someone can appear as completely enlightened and also as completely broken. And that's not wrong. You have to deal with the appearances. Like if someone comes to you and say your partner falls down and breaks their leg, and they come to you and they're like, I broke my leg, I have to go to the hospital. Are you going to say, well, you're a Buddha and you don't really have any internal organs and your body is made of light, so you're just tricking me and testing my worldview, and I'm not going to take you to the hospital? That's insane. They're literally appearing to you as a person with a broken leg. You have to take them to the hospital. So it's the same thing, I think, when they appear to you as someone who has problems. You have to deal with the conventional reality that you're facing, but always in the back of your mind, remembering that this is a teaching for you.
And I think
It's
that's
like when you watch a movie and you're so immersed in the movie. Like I went to see a movie I went to see like Avatar 2 the other night, and there were a couple of jump scares. And I knew I was watching a movie because there's these like 12 feet tall blue people, and I've never met one of those. But when the jump scares came, I literally like screamed and like went to my friend for protection. So I think it's a little like that. It's not real, but you're immersed in it anyway.
And I think that's the caution of the stories that we tell ourselves, right? And the caution of, if you see someone as enlightened and as perfect, that doesn't mean that what's appearing to you has to be ignored at all, right? And that's where it's like walking that fine line. It's like the razor's edge. Like, how do you ride that so that you can plant the most powerful seeds possible, and at the same time you don't lose connection with the world that's appearing to you, because what's appearing to you is real, and it always has been and always will be. How it appears is what we're trying to get at, right? We don't ignore people who are suffering. We don't, we have to deal with the world that's appearing, and we can't ignore it. And if anyone says otherwise, you may want to check their worldview. So what's next, Rebecca? What do we do next?
Oh no. Can't we let's just stay in this class forever. We'll keep the translators. We'll stay in. No, I'm just kidding.
How about, let's answer 2 questions and then
Yeah.
we'll,
Do you want to pick one and you want me to pick one?
yeah, sure. Okay, there's a question here. And I think this is important for us to really think about how things arise. Like the question is, you have a partner. Do we really need, like, and they're appearing in a certain way. Do we really need, like, they're appearing not as a practitioner, right? They're appearing as a normal person, as you were talking about earlier, like someone who just wants you to be their girlfriend or boyfriend. And do we need to change them? That's the question, right?
So they're appearing as a boyfriend. Do we need to change them into a spiritual partner?
Yes. Or what oftentimes happens in this question, and I'm going to add into it, is like, well, then I'm going to go meet my spiritual partner elsewhere. And I'm going to add into this somewhere else. I've known people who have been in committed relationships and then they met their spiritual partner outside of that relationship. And then the fallout from the choices made during that. Okay. Like, or the more normal question is, I've been with my partner for 10 years and I'm suddenly attracted to somebody else. And we have a deep connection.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or I have this deep connection with someone and wow, they are they're appearing as holy and divine, but they're not my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What do you do? Like, what do you do in that scenario? Like, what do you do when your partner isn't appearing as holy as you would like them to be? And then I'm going to add the second part of the question is, then you meet someone who's not your partner and they appear that way. What do you do? I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you how I think about it. I think first of all is that you can't control the seeds that are ripening for you. Like seeds are just flowing out, right? And if you made a commitment to somebody and then someone else is appearing to you who might be more attractive for whatever reason, whether it's, you've lost you don't have that new relationship energy anymore with your partner. And then you meet someone new and you're just like, right, the rush of that. Or you meet someone new and they're just like, everything they do seems to move your winds. I'm not talking your sexual winds. I'm just talking about moves your winds and moves your prana in a way that seems to open up it basically just starts purifying things for you. Right. So like the way that I would look at it is that the conflict that's arising between this and that is the seed to look at, not the seed of, did this person have the spiritual partner quality, but this person does. Okay, those are just seeds ripening over here, but it's the conflict that you have in the middle that you need to deal with. Not should I go this way or should I go that way, but rather the fact that I have this kind of disharmony appearing in my life, that is the seed to address. Why have I created a situation that is impossible, that feels impossible? Where else have I done this to other people? In what ways am I creating disharmony or confusion or lack of clarity of action with other people? Go back there, because you clearly have the seeds for the magic to ripen, right? But they're ripening in this person, not that person. Forget it. Go back to the conflict. Why is the conflict there in the first place? and sort that out.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. You can't, the seeds are ripening, It's too late. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, this has happened to you. You can't put the seeds back in. You can't stop. You have feelings for someone, or some angel appears to you and they're not your partner. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, wow, an angel appeared to you. That's amazing. Good for you. But on the other hand, it can be painful. It could be very confusing. But you can't help the way a person appears to you. You can't help how they make you feel, because that's just a karma you have with them. And it's a difficult situation. If you're in this situation, I think it would be a very challenging situation. I just would personally say that I don't think a divine being would want you to break vows. And you do with that what you want, but yeah, I'm not answering. I'm not going to tell you what to do either. But I do think what Tim said is really right. You have to look at, why are you being forced to see two separate beings? What is it about why? Why are you seeing an impossible situation that you don't know how to deal with? Why do you have to live in a world where impossible situations exist? And why are they appearing as two different people? And email us and let us know what you come up with. I would love to know the answer to this one myself. If a person irritates us the most, is this a spiritual partner? It really depends on your view. If you can see them as a person who's just irritating you to teach you, I think so. But I do think that there should be certain elements in a spiritual partnership, like that they irritate you and you learn from it and you become a better person. If they're irritating you and you're just in a constant state of irritation that makes you hurt other people, and it doesn't drive you towards Buddhahood, but it's taking you away from Buddhahood, then I don't know that I think that that's probably the opposite of a spiritual partnership. Unless unless you come to some realization that you need to change and plant better seeds. I do think, the partnership needs to bring you up, and make you a kinder, better person. It shouldn't be making you a worse person than when you started. I think that's an indication that it's unhealthy. And, maybe they're trying to send you in another direction.
There's one more question here, Rebecca, I think I want to add into, and I think you answered it already, but I think it's important for a lot of us in the distinctions or lack of distinctions. And the question is, I still want to go for worldly fun, but also grow and progress in the path every day.
Yeah.
Right. What should I wish for? My answer to your question is, there's your wish. Right? You want to have someone to have, like, your spiritual partnership should be fun. It shouldn't be heavy, right? Like, yeah, go have fun, enjoy yourself, and grow and progress together. I mean, that's all we can really hope for. I mean, the final goal, yes. But if you want to have fun and you want to grow and progress on the path every day, that's the wish. That's your wish, right? Plant seeds for that. Plant seeds for someone. I have a friend who, after many, many years of marriage with a quote non-practitioner, their partner was like, hey, let's meditate together. All on their own, right? So, like, don't worry so much about the form, but like, what is it that you want to see? Where you want to go? And then work on the karmas for that. And if you really want to work on the karma for it, go to DCI level, advanced level 2, and learn how to plant those seeds. We're not going to talk about that today. Maybe we'll have another podcast, Rebecca, and we'll talk about it. I don't know if you want to add anything else into that, Rebecca.
Well, just one last thing, because I'm feeling like people are thinking this. What if like the person you're with doesn't have the qualities you want them to have? Like you really want to do the spiritual partnership with them, but they just don't have the qualities that you want in a person. How do you plant those seeds? I'm feeling like some people are like, this is all great, but how do I do it? I would say just very quickly, because we have no time, make a list of what you want. Be very clear about what you want in a person, in a partnership. Be very clear, because you will get exactly what you asked for, and you will not get what you didn't ask for. And be that for someone else. Try to be those things for someone else. And happy Valentine's Day, you guys, or happy end to your Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
If it's just beginning, I hope you find some magical messages in those boxes of chocolate. If you eat chocolate. If it's ending, I hope you found some magic today.
Me too.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Tim. Do you want to add something else?
Someone just asked about someone asked you. No, go ahead.
Yes. So thank you very much for this very interesting class. Thank you for all the preparation and the time that you spent. I also want to thank all the volunteers involved in this class, the tech team, the translators, the people who manage the platform, the marketing team, all the volunteers who are running the Telegram chats where we can share these special classes. Thank you very much for all of them. Also, I want to thank you two guys for being here and make all Valentine's Day very special. And I have a quick announcement for the audience. As you know, ACI is a nonprofit organization, and mostly our classes are for free. And if you would like to help us to keep organization offering classes for free, and you feel you want to support our mission, please donate to the link that will be posted in this chat. We will appreciate your donation. But if in this moment you cannot donate money, you can donate your time and become an ACI volunteer. As you might heard, we have many classes, and ACI, now called Worldview Productions, we support other organizations, Geshe Michael, other organizations, and we always need help. We always need volunteers. So if you would like to volunteer, please reach out to us. And then I want to say, if you want to hear this class again, or the previous classes with David and Alex Roland and Sylvia and Alex, please join our study platform. The links will be appearing in here in the chat, where you can listen to recordings again. And thank you very much. And lastly, please visit our ACI website, where you can learn more about all upcoming programs, the international events that the teachers are having in Mexico, in Malaysia. So please come to our website and see what is coming up, and save the date for our coming ACI Lamb Rim with Geshe Michael Roach in April. So it will be in person and online. The registrations will be open very soon. Thank you very much for joining us, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate friendships. Let's celebrate the angels that they are with us. Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Thank you, Ale. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining today. And for those of you that are in the panelist group, please turn on your microphones and say goodbye to everybody. Thank you all for such a wonderful time.
Yeah. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Rebecca.
До побачення.
Adiós.
Gracias. Adiós. Feliz día.
До
Feliz
побачення.
Valentine.
It always makes me feel good, Rebecca, and it makes me cry a little bit to hear it.
That was so cute. I love it.
Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day, you guys.
Joaquin, happy Valentine's Day. Oh.
Дякуємо.
You want to say that? No. Okay. Okay. I go now.